tuni yako, tuma neno skiza likifuatwa na nambari 738100273 kwa 811.
Dear viewer, welcome to Captain TV. My name is Adolphe Mlengezi. Today we are going to talk about epilepsy, and you are really pleased to have our guest in honor who is going to introduce herself, and we wish her all the best in this studio of Captain TV. Welcome, Madam Petronila. You can introduce yourself to our viewer.
Thank you, Adolphe. My name is Petronila Kemunto. I'm a nurse by profession. I work at Kenyatta National Hospital, our central referral hospital for East and Central Africa. And at Kenyatta National Hospital, we have a big number of people that come to seek healthcare. And here today, I am to talk about a specific one, a hated, neglected, forgotten, but what I love most. And that is kifafa.
Epilepsy. So, dear viewer, we are well aware that epilepsy is a bit neglected by some people, but also we should not leave it aside, because when it affects one of our members, it's the whole body that is affected. And when one of us is not well, it's the whole family that is unwell. But with Madam Petronila, she will give us more light on that, about epilepsy and how to deal with epilepsy. So we learn more from her, and starting with the first question, Madam Petronila, what is epilepsy? For someone, our viewer who is just watching us right now, what can you tell her or him about epilepsy? What is it?
In simple terms, epilepsy is a disturbance of the nerve conduction or a flow of current in electric wires of the brain or nerves in the brain. So epilepsy specifically is a condition of the brain that involves disturbance of the flow of electrical current, which manifests itself externally as either a convulsion, a fit, or in some cases it's called as an attack. In medical terms, it's a seizure or a convulsion.
And epilepsy is a seizure or convulsion. So I think our dear viewer had get the definition about epilepsy. And what can be the causes of epilepsy?
As I've mentioned, epilepsy is a disturbance of the electrical activity. It does not mean the brain is damaged, but a disturbance of electrical activity in the brain can come due to so many reasons. But in epilepsy, this disturbance must be more than two or one, which manifests for a period less than 5 minutes, and a clinician or a person who is empowered understands that when I observe this specific convulsion that's due probably an impairment of electrical activity in the brain, and at that time there should be nothing like a low blood sugar, a high blood sugar, or an electrolyte imbalance that has caused that. Because in some cases, people may have a convulsion because they have either taken alcohol, they have either had very low blood sugar or very high blood sugar, or exposed to some chemicals. In epilepsy, the convulsion or the electrical disturbance in the brain comes at that specific time. There's nothing that has happened. But ideally, the flow of messages in the brain is disturbed. This occurs because at some level in epilepsy, the electrical wires, which are called nerves in medical terms, if they are injured by any reason, or during birth, before birth, during formation of the brain, there is development of the brain or malformation of the brain nerves may have a problem in relaying messages from one place to another, which will be shown outwardly as a disturbance, but the disturbance is within the brain. So the causes are so many, and that gives birth to so many types of epilepsies. The causes can be before birth, as I've already mentioned. Before birth, If a mother who is expectant or is pregnant, or even before she gets pregnant, is on medication which might tamper with the development of the baby's unborn baby's brain, especially the first 3 months of life, where people take it at that time that this is not a human being. That's the most essential time that a human being is being formed, and the most essential part being the brain. The brain is everything. It's the motor or the motherboard for the whole body of a human being or any living creature, animal. So in this case, before birth, the causes may involve that one which I've said, use of medication that may impair or affect the way the brain nerves are supposed to develop. Or this expectant mother, especially, in some cases where ladies say this was an unwanted pregnancy and we want to interfere with it, and God forbid, there's no unexpected baby. Every child is expected. Christ was not expected to come from Mother Mary.
Exactly.
So in this case, any child from day one, as long as conception has taken place, there has to be great care of that baby. So if a lady or a mother has known that she has conceived or suspected that she has conceived, she has to start taking care of that pregnancy. One, avoid any exposure to any substance like alcohol, cigarettes, bang, even medication in hospital which is not prescribed by a doctor, because some medications can impair development of the brain. Exposure to X-rays, which are harmful, can also impair the development of the baby. Sometimes people believe that I have to take some concoctions, herbals and all that. These are some of the things that can cause. And at times, it just happens that the brain develops, especially if there is malnutrition. There's also that could cause maldevelopment of the baby's brain. If there's in very severe cases where the mother is malnourished, lacks some essential elements in her diet, that will cause
epilepsy.
Maldevelopment of the brain. And in that case, the nerves, if they are not fully developed, epilepsy starts before birth. Another most essential part of development, birth of epilepsy is during birth of this baby. The mother might have taken good care of the pregnancy from conception through up to the 9th month. At birth, either the mother herself or the healthcare provider, which can be a traditional birth attendant or a healthcare provider in a hospital. If a mess goes up there, then there will be development of epilepsy or birth of epilepsy at that time. Mama akichelewa kujifungua, kawaida uchungu wa uzazi wa mama haifai kuchukua zaidi ya masaa 12. Ikifika masaa 8 tangu aanze kuhisi uchungu wa uzazi, mtoto anafaa kuwa amezaliwa. Mama akikaa sana bila mtoto kuzaliwa, kwanza ule uchungu wa mama husababisha mama kuchoka. Na pia sababu wakati ule kawaida kimaumbile, according to God's creation, when times comes to a baby to be born, like when time came for baby Jesus to be born, Mother Mary had to be in a safe place. So the mother has to be in a safe place, like in a hospital where monitoring of the baby is done. If the baby takes longer than enough, separation of the baby and mother starts. As the attachment came from conception, then detachment comes at birth. If the detachment is done for a long time, the baby will miss supply of blood to the brain. Still we go back to the brain because epilepsy, in this case, is the brain, the motherboard. So if there is lack of oxygen supply to the brain, through that is lack of blood to the brain of the baby, because the detachment of the mother from the baby
and the mother.
That lack of supply will deprive the brain from oxygen, and that lack of oxygen will kill nerves which are already well formed. If it destroys part of the brain nerves, then this child is born with a nerve disorder or nerve injury which will cause convulsions. They may be noted immediately the baby is born, especially if the baby does not cry. The baby comes with the fetus already, the baby has passed stool in the womb. That tells us that the baby is so tired. Another cause can come during birth again, during the passing through the birth canal.
Yeah.
If the baby is forced to come out through a very narrow birth canal, the head is forced so much, and the head cover, the cranium, is pressed in. Injury can occur. If the baby falls, still injury can occur at that time. After birth, any form of injury, anyone can have epilepsy.
Yeah.
I always say, as long as you live, you have a living brain, epilepsy can start at any time.
Dear viewer, you are aware now that anyone can have a form of epilepsy. And we want to take a short break that we'll be back with you with so many things from Madam Petronila, who is a nurse at Kenyatta National Hospital, and she has really prepared a lot about this topic, which is about epilepsy. So we are back in a few minutes. Let's go for a break.
Our masses will start from 6 o'clock in the evening, East African time.
Capuchin TV, a Catholic Broadcasting Ministry. Tuna furaha kukujulisha kwamba misa takatifu ya kila siku ni kama ifuatavyo: saa 1 kamili asubuhi, saa 7:30 mchana, saa 12 jioni na saa 2:30 usiku.
Go forth, the mass is ended.
Thanks be to God.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, tunakuenzi na kukudhamini.
Endelea kutazama Capuchin TV.
Kipaimara ni sakramenti yenye kumpa Mkristo Roho Mtakatifu na ukamilifu wa mapaji yake 7, kumfanya Mkristo mkamilifu na kumfanya shahidi hodari wa Yesu Kristo mpaka kufa.
Kupata kipaimara kama skiza tune yako, tuma neno skiza likifuatwa na nambari 738100272 kwa 811. Liturujia Katoliki, sakramenti, kuungama, ekaristi, sala, nyimbo, neno la Mungu, ibada takatifu. Jiunge nasi kila siku ya Jumapili saa 1:30 usiku na Jumatatu saa 4 asubuhi kwa liturujia Katoliki na Padre Boniface Mukwe.
Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy. Hail our life and sweetness and our hope. To you do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To you do we send up our sighs, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. Turn then, most gracious Advocate, your eyes of mercy toward us, and after this our exile, show unto us the blessed fruit of your womb, Jesus, O merciful, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary. Amen.
To get Hail Holy Queen as your skiza tune, send skiza followed by code 738-10258 and send it to 811.
Dear viewer, welcome back again to our topic. This is Capuchin TV. My name is Adolphe Mlengezi. And remember, we have our guest, Madam Petronila, who is a nurse at Kenyatta National Hospital. In our first part, we talked about epilepsy, what it entails, and what can be the causes of epilepsy. I think you learned a lot about it. Now, we are going to talk about some myths, if there are any, because in a family whereby you have maybe a boy or a girl who always falls down, you know, sometimes they say maybe this person has been witched, you know, but following whatever Madam Petronila has been explaining to us, I think there is more than that. So are there any myths that can be explained to our viewer?
There are more myths and wrong beliefs about epilepsy that you may think of. Most of the times, as I said from the beginning, epilepsy is a brain condition. But what is perceived by various people is that epilepsy is bewitchment. Some people believe that epilepsy is possession by evil spirits. And for that reason, there is a lot of stigma on those people who live with epilepsy. They are not epilepsy. Wao si kifafa, ni watu ambao wanaishi na kifafa. Because they came before epilepsy came.
Exactly.
So some of the myths, I'll go with a few areas in our country. The western region where I happen to come from, in Kisii, and Rume, that is the vernacular name for epilepsy, mostly is believed to be a condition that is caused by touching a person that lives with epilepsy. Tafadhali, kifafa haiwezi ambukishwa kutoka kwa mtu mmoja kwenda kwa mwingine. It's non-contagious, cannot be spread from one person to another. Tumesema mbeleni, as I said, epilepsy is an injury to the brain.
Yeah.
Injury on any person cannot be transferred from that person to another. If this injury can occur through a fall, we have already mentioned in pregnancy, before birth. It can come as a result of malaria, when there is very high temperature that hurts the brain nerves. It can come as a result of tuberculosis. Any infection that causes very high temperature can injure brains. Now, another injury on the head, like a knock on the head during accidents or a fall from a height, injures the brain, and if it presses on the brain nerves, then epilepsy come out of that. Because when electrical current, which is a way we pass message from one person to another, when the message reaches there, it's disrupted and it can come out like the person talks.
Yeah, so that was one of the causes. So among the myths, so you started explaining about some myths here in Kenya.
In Kenya, is that this person is possessed. This person comes from a family that is cursed. This person must have touched urine ama froth, mate ya mtu ambaye ako na kifafa. In some cases, some communities say, nilipata kifafa sababu niliwekewa urine ama mkojo wa yule ambaye mtoto wake anaishi na kifafa, ama nilivuka mkojo wa yule ambaye ako na kifafa. Tafadhali, kifafa haiambukishwi. Huwezi pata kwa kuvuka ama kwa kuguza.
So those are wrong beliefs.
They are wrong beliefs. And the facts are what we've already mentioned, that it's a medical condition that can be either come before birth or after birth. If you take alcohol for a long time, a sudden withdrawal can lead to development of convulsions. If you have a stroke, very high blood pressure, then later a stroke, you can have epilepsy developing from that. The other things I've mentioned about. Then myths that now follow is about how to take care of that. How to finish epilepsy. Some people believe that in Central, it's uncompleted dowry or unpaid dowry. So people think that if I didn't pay dowry for my wife, my children or my grandchildren will have epilepsy. So for that reason, people
That's from western part of Kenya.
That's Central. Western, I'll have to give urine back to the person who gave it back to me, or has to cross over that urine from the Luo.
So that you may be free from epilepsy. So those are myths.
A few of the myths.
Yeah.
And some communities, eastern part, the upper eastern, and they believe that you must have been thrown.
Which is not the
kijiti ambacho, and coastal region, kuna kijiti ulirushiwa ama uchawi.
Yeah, now we are learning a lot from Madam Petronila. So now we want to know if epilepsy as such can be treatable. Is there any treatment for epilepsy?
I'll give a quote in the Bible when
Yeah.
Jesus Christ was given a child who used to suffer convulsions. So from time immemorial, epilepsy has been in existence.
Yeah.
And as medicine came in, courtesy of Hippocrates, initially epilepsy used to be said it's non-curable or untreatable.
Yeah.
But Hippocrates, when he discovered that it was a disruption of electrical current in the brain, that gave birth to modern medicine, and treatment came on epilepsy. Part of this treatment may involve just use of medication that has to be prescribed by a person who is familiar with what epilepsy or who understands what epilepsy is. This should be a neurologist or a consultant who understands epilepsy.
Yeah.
It can be by a nurse who understands epilepsy, a clinic officer. But some people talk of herbals, but we don't have evidence of anyone who has cured it. So treatment of epilepsy, we have medication. Some people do very well on just a single tablet on a single day.
Okay.
And that treatment, once started, cannot be stopped except when the person who initiated says, now, at this time, we've controlled epilepsy to a level that the person cannot live with epilepsy. Remember, the brain is injured.
Exactly.
Once the brain nerves have been injured, they cannot be restored fully to where they were. But to help this brain submit electrical current, usually, then the medication is given, which helps the nerve transmit that transmit electrical current without disruption. We use drugs, and in some rare cases, epilepsy is treated by doing surgery on the brain, remove that part or correct that part which was injured during the time of cause of epilepsy.
Thank you very much, Madam Petronila. You are again most welcome to Capuchin TV. Dear viewer, we have been talking about epilepsy, and we learned a lot about this issue because it's so neglected in our families, in our society. But due to whatever you have learned today, I think we can also give it a trial, not also to relay on the myth about epilepsy, but it can also get a cure. So you are again most welcome. I have been your presenter, Adolphe Mulengezi. Thank you very much, Madam Petronila.
Thanks, Adolphe. Still, we have a lot. On treatment, during the convulsion or during the attack, there are various types of attacks. As I said in the beginning, it's either an attack or a convulsion or a seizure. There is assistance that this person needs. Treatment needs a prescription, but now during the seizure, the person has to have first aid.
Yeah.
When it's convulsive, there's body jerky movement, or the client can fall down and lose conscious, or the client does not fall conscious, but the conscious is impaired, can walk around unaware of what he's doing. So there has to be someone. If the client has convulsive movement and falls down, there's usually production of saliva. Anyone who is there should stay with the client until full recovery. Once the body jerk movement has stopped, then the client should be assisted to lie on the left side with the left hand folded backwards, the left leg folded too, but the right leg straight to support the client from rolling back. The saliva will drain, and that will prevent the client from choking, and which may lead to death.
Yeah, dear viewers, if you have many questions about epilepsy, I think we can still have more to share with you next time. And you are always most welcome in our station, this Capuchin TV. Keep watching Capuchin TV. I rest yours, Adolphe Mulengezi.
Okay, thank you.